I built a $100,000 lawn care business in 90 days, and I want to show you how. This is exactly what I did from scratch, and I want to break down to you what worked, what didn't, and what I'd do differently. Most people overcomplicate a business thinking they need tons of money, years of experience, or a great idea. But the reality is, I followed a simple and repeatable process. So even if you're a complete business beginner, you'll learn how to go from $0 to $100,000 fast with this business. I'm gonna break this video down into 3 parts. The first is the setup and what I did to get this business off the ground. Second is client acquisition and what I did to get hundreds of paying clients every single month. And the third is servicing clients and how I keep everything organized. Now it's super windy out here, so I don't want to record. I'm gonna take you back to the office and show you how I set everything up. Getting set up for this business is relatively easy, but I know a lot of new entrepreneurs overcomplicate things and just don't know where to get started. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I did so you won't be stuck figuring out what to do next. All you have to do is decide what services you're offering, set up your branding, and make sure you have the equipment to get the job done. Let me tell you what the best services are to get into. And clients will come asking for all sorts of odd jobs here and there, but I think it's super important to focus down just to a few core services that you want to prioritize and actually offer your client. The services I offer are just basic lawn mowing services, bi-weekly, weekly, or on call as needed, leaf cleanup for the fall and spring, and then just full season fertilization and weed control. Those 3 basic core services are all I offer. If I was to offer other services, I would need to spend more money to get the equipment to offer those services. Plus I would have to do the research. I would have to learn, how to actually service clients. And there's not really much of a learning process when it comes to just mowing the lawn, picking up leaves, and then just making, some fertilization and weed control applications. By focusing on these few core services, it's made it much easier to grow. I've actually made more money faster by niching down and not offering everything under the sun. And that comes with less headache and less worry about having to deal with so many different moving parts in your business. And once you know what you're offering, that's when you can finally pick your brand name. Let me tell you the strategy I use so you can easily set up your branding in 60 seconds or less. I logged onto ChatGPT, which is a free AI platform where you can ask the bot a question and it's just going to give you an answer. I told the AI the services I was offering, the city I was operating in, and it gave me a dozen options to choose from for brand names. After that, I asked it to generate me a company logo using that same name, and the entire process was all set up in less than a minute. Don't spend a lot of time on this or stress too much. Just pick something and move on to the next step, which is getting the equipment. The equipment for the lawn care business can get very, very expensive. But if you follow my advice, you can get this set up for completely free. You don't need anything to get this business started besides some sort of transportation to get you from wherever you are to the client's property so you can actually get them serviced. Now you're probably wondering, how do I service the client if I don't have any equipment? Well, you just use their equipment. That's how you bootstrap and save a bunch of money when first starting this business if budget is a concern to you. The very first lawn care business I started, because this isn't my first one, I was making $10,000 a month and I was driving around in this thing. That's a 2019 Nissan Micra you saw there. So if you want to start this and you're worried that buying a truck is way too expensive and you do want to have your own equipment rather than using the clients eventually, don't worry, because I did it in that little shitty car, so you can probably do it in any car too, as long as it's a hatchback or you can just squeeze something in. Just make do with what you have in that moment and you can grow from there. When you get to the point where you want to buy your own equipment, all you need are the things that I have popped up here on the screen. So pause the video and take notes. To start generating revenue, we need clients for the business. I'm going to show you how I got the business off the ground without spending any money at all on marketing. So the very first way I started was just going door to door, knocking on neighbors' houses and asking if they want lawn care services, giving them a quote, and getting the job done. Eventually down the line, I doubled that with flyers, and to save on costs, I just used regular printer paper at home, printed from the printer and the ink I already had, so I didn't have to spend any additional money on it, and I used those flyers to hang up around the neighborhood. If you have the budget, of course, it's nice to spend $100 and get some nice printed out business cards. They're helpful, but they're not needed by any means. And the second way, if you're not someone who wants to go door to door, is just reaching out on Facebook groups. Join a bunch of different Facebook communities or local community groups, and you can just reach out to the people in there and ask them if they're looking or interested in your new local lawn care business. Free methods like flyers, door to door, and outreach are great, but that's not how I made my $100,000 in 90 days. The flyers I put out got me some results, door to door got me some results, but the way I made the big bucks was paid marketing campaigns. If you don't have the budget for this, no worries. I just want to tell you so when the time comes, this is the best option to grow and scale fast. All I did was set up some Google advertising search campaigns, and the very first time I did this, I knew nothing, probably as many of you don't know anything about running Google ads, but that's fine. All you have to do is look up a tutorial on YouTube and someone will just walk you through how to set everything up. I even have one on my own YouTube channel if you ever wanted to check it out. In the past 18 months, I've spent almost $40,000 on ads, and that has generated me over $500,000 worth of revenue. That means every $100 I spend on ads, I make $1,250 in revenue. I do have employees, so about 50% of that goes to them for labor, and the other 50% is complete profit after all expenses for my business. So if I was to put $100 a day into ads over the course of 90 days, and every day I made $1,250 of revenue, I would make $100K in 90 days with that advertising strategy. And that's exactly how I did it. Now, whether you're doing the free methods or you're doing the paid methods, you're going to be getting leads. Leads are potential clients who show interest in your services, but haven't actually signed up as a paying client yet. So I want to show you how to give your leads a quote for their lawn care services. This is another step that I know people aren't very good at or overcomplicate, providing quotes to people's properties or what to quote the client. Now, it is super easy to set up, but if you do it wrong, you could end up putting in a lot of work to make little to no money. The way you charge out for your services is you essentially look at the client's property, you estimate, hey, that's gonna take me roughly 10, 15, 30, 45 minutes to finish. There's a variety of factors that you might take into consideration. Is there a lot of trimming and trees to work around? Is it very big? Is it small? And is there maybe a steep hill involved? And that's gonna take me longer because it's a pain in the ass to get around. It's probably gonna be rough the first couple times around, but as you put in more and more work at these properties, you'll get really good at estimating roughly how long it's gonna take you. You'll also wanna have an hourly rate that you wanna make. So if you wanna make $50 an hour and you estimate it's gonna take 30 minutes to service that property, you wanna charge that client for $25, comes out to $50 an hour. Now, potentially you wanna add drive time in too, so maybe you'll add an extra $10 for every client just as a base rate, and that includes drive time. It's completely up to you how you wanna quote. Just keep in mind, I wanna make X amount of dollars per hour. I think this is gonna take me X amount of time, and don't forget about the drive time in between. And keep in mind, when you're charging out an hourly rate, you also have other expenses, like if you're driving your truck to the property or you have your own equipment, there's fuel, there's gas, there's maintaining the truck and the equipment as well. So if you're using your own equipment rather than using the client's equipment, you'll likely wanna charge more because you have more expenses related. So your hourly rate that you're charging for the estimated time it takes to service the property should be higher if you're using your own equipment versus using theirs. Once you figure out what you're charging, I would just go ahead and send them over a quote via email or text. And the way I do this is I use a software called Jobber, Jobber. If you're getting into the lawn care business, I highly recommend you use this software. You can sign up for free, start your free trial. By the time the trial's over, you'll probably make enough money to pay for the software. It's not super expensive. But all I do is I add the client to my software, I hit the create quote button, and then I send it over to them with the pricing and the service description that they asked for. After I secured my very first client for the very first lawn care I ever started, I came into a massive problem. It was being able to keep track of the schedule and how I would know which client to service each day of the week. I did so much research and I couldn't find where I could keep track of this. I heard people say they just use Google Calendars. I tried that sucks, especially if you want to build a massive lawn care company. You can't get 100 people on your Google Calendar. Technically you could, but it's just going to get so messy. So the client has approved the quote and now I'm supposed to get them serviced. They want service every single week. Where am I keeping track of this? I'm gonna refer back to Jobber again. So in the beginning, I didn't use Jobber. I had a super messy spreadsheet, but now it's been a time saver. It has been absolutely crucial so I could scale my company to where it's at today. So to schedule jobs, I use Jobber. All I do is I go to the client's quote that I sent them, I hit turn into a job, and I can set it up on a reoccurring schedule as often or as frequent as I'd like. From there, the client's visit shows up under the schedule calendar tab on Jobber, and I can see who am I servicing, which day of the week, and I don't have to worry about keeping track of everything because Jobber does that for me. I sectioned my city into 4 different sections, so each day of the week I service a different section. So Monday is Northwest, Tuesday is Northeast, Wednesday is Southwest, Thursday is Southeast. So whenever I get a new client signed up, depending which section of the city they're in, or the day that I set them for recurring lawn care visits. Now that I have them booked in, the way it works for getting them serviced is I just download the Jobber app on my phone, I open it up, I go to the day that it is, and it tells me all the visits in the order that I have to service them in. Because Jobber also has a routing software, so it optimizes the visits I'm supposed to go into. And no, I'm not sponsored by Jobber or anything. It's just a really convenient app that seriously helped me grow my business. And so I just want to give it a huge shout out and say if you're starting this, I highly recommend you use Jobber. It makes things so convenient. Now in the beginning, it's going to be super easy to keep track of invoicing, but when you're servicing 30 clients every single week with different billing periods and different billing dates, it gets super complicated and hard to keep track of. You might miss money. You might forget to invoice somebody. And once again, I use Jobber to save my ass. So whenever I'm on my app and I mark a visit as complete, All my clients have a card on file, so it auto charges their card, and if they don't want to pay with credit card, it auto sends them an invoice and they can pay with e-transfer, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, any of the other kind of cash sending payment methods. It also keeps track of people who don't pay. So if I go under the invoice tab, I can see overdue invoices, and I know I have to call this client to follow up and see why the hell they haven't given me my money yet. And anyone who has an overdue invoice for 7 days, I cancel their service, because most people sign up on weekly subscriptions, and so I don't want to service them again unless they've actually paid me for the last time. And that is essentially the last step to starting, growing, and operating your lawn care business. Now all you do is repeat this process of getting a lead, sending them a quote, putting it on your schedule, and then sending them an invoice for the service complete. If you follow all of these steps properly, I promise you in no time, you will see well over $100,000 in your bank account. And if you want to learn how to take yourself out of the business and making $100,000 every single month working from home like I do, check out this video on the screen where you're going to learn how to set up a fully remote lawn care business on autopilot.